Welcome back to the Jimmy Football Podcast, the only podcast where the host chugs a beer for each prediction they get wrong for the week. I'm your host, Jimmy Football. Let's go ahead and take a look at Utah at Arizona this week. Both teams are sitting at 7-3. The CFP rankings came out Tuesday night. It has Utah at number 22 and Arizona at number 17. This is a 1-point spread in favor of Arizona. I've seen it. It started as a 1-point favorite in favor of Utah, and then it went to half a point in favor of Utah. Now I'm seeing it at 1 in favor of Arizona. Looks like the spread is very tight, and I'd have to agree with that. I think this is going to be a good game. I think it's going to be close. Let's go ahead and take a look at the numbers here. Utah, 25 points per game, while Arizona is sitting at 31. Utah rushing for 185 a game, while Arizona is rushing for 157. Utah's passed for 170, while Arizona is going 280 through the air per game. And that goes to Utah averaging 355 yards a game, and Arizona with 437 yards per game. That would be quite the scene if Utah could put up 355 points a game, but not this year. We'll just say that. Without Cam Rising, they are not putting up 355 points a game. That's for sure. Something I want to take a look at here. Utah's defense. Very good against the rush. 3.1 a carry is what they're giving up. But looking at Arizona only running 157 yards per game on the ground, doesn't look like that's their strong suit there. What's really their strong suit is that 280 yards per game in the air. And Utah's given up 6.6 passing per attempt. And Arizona's getting 8 yards per attempt there in the air. So if they can find a way to lock down the Arizona team in the air, that's going to be the strong suit. I don't think we're going to see a ton of rushing out of Arizona. At least it's not going to be a big rushing game. But let's go ahead and take a look at the schedule. I was pretty impressed looking back at Arizona's schedule with how they've played their opponents with their losses. They had a really bad loss. Their first loss of the season was to Mississippi State in overtime. Mississippi State, not a great team. You got to win that game. They lost to Washington by 7. I mean, what you going to do about that? Utah also lost to Washington by 7. And they lost to USC by 2 in overtime. USC is about just a quarterback. That's what it seems like when you watch. It looks like it's all Caleb Williams. But yeah, they would have liked to win that one. Utah did beat USC this season. Now let's take a look at Utah's losses. They lost to Oregon State by 14. That was an ugly game. It was 21-7. They got nothing going that game. That was hard to watch. They lost to Oregon by 29. That was a game where after few scores by Oregon, you turn it off. It was ugly. That was at Utah as well. That College game day, big hyped up game, did not pan out for Utah there. And recently losing to Washington by 7. I think Washington's good. I actually picked, I was expecting Utah to win that game. But they lost to Washington by 7. And one of those losses that we mentioned with Utah was Oregon State by 14. Just 3 or 4 weeks ago, Arizona beat Oregon State. Something to keep in mind. Again, we already talked about, Arizona lost to USC and Utah beat USC, but just something to keep in mind there. Again, a tight spread. And let me tell you something about Utah, though. I've lived in Utah for a few years in my life, and they love their college football. That's all they have. They have that in the Utah Jazz. So they don't have a pro team. They have no one else to root for. So they are die-hard fans when it comes to college football. With that being said, if this game was at Utah, I may change my mind a little bit. But with this game, I'm going with Arizona. I like what I see here. I have not been impressed with Utah. I think this would be an incredible Utah team with Cam Rising, everyone healthy. Too many injuries. I think they have 12, 15, some crazy amount of injuries this season. If they were healthy, I think Utah would look real good this year. But I'm going with Arizona. If I'm wrong, I will see you guys next week chugging a beer with the recap, and I'll owe it to the Utah fans out there. Hey, thanks for watching the Jimmy Football Podcast. Let me know how you think I did down below in the comments. Go ahead and leave your predictions. If you did like the video, make sure to like and subscribe. You're going to want to stay tuned. If I do get a prediction wrong, I will be chugging a beer with the recap the following week. But I appreciate you guys, and I'll see you next week. Peace.